The first time Alexander locked himself in the hospital room, staring at his own reflection in the polished chrome of the wheelchair, he felt a shiver crawl up his spine. The sterile smell of antiseptic mixed with the faint clinical hum of the ventilators in the distance made his heart pound. A man with everything, money, status, influence, now sat trapped in a prison of his own making. Not because of a tragic accident, but because he wanted to see the truth. He wanted to know if the woman he loved would stay, not for him, but for the man he pretended to be. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the truth of the heart, take a moment to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who loves emotional stories, and don't forget to subscribe for more heartfelt stories. Alexander had grown up with a golden spoon in his mouth, the heir to one of the largest tech empires in the country. He had women chase him, friends seek his attention, and strangers flatter him at every turn. Yet, behind the tailored suits and luxurious penthouses, he carried a quiet insecurity. He had never known if anyone loved him for who he was, not what he represented. That insecurity had grown over the years, fueled by shallow relationships and fleeting attention. And then he met Clara. Clara was different. She had a soft laugh that seemed to linger in the air, eyes that saw through the glittering facades of his life, and a gentle soul that Alexander felt drawn to from the very first moment. She treated him like an ordinary man, never impressed by his wealth or his name. She was warm, attentive, and her touch was comforting in a way that made him forget the world outside, and yet a gnawing doubt remained in his heart. Could Clara truly love him, or was he still just a trophy to her? That doubt festered until one night, staring at the moonlit city from his skyscraper balcony, Alexander made a choice that would change everything. He would test Clara. He would pretend to be paralyzed from the waist down, confined to a wheelchair, dependent on others for everything. He rationalized it as a test of love, a cruel experiment to uncover the truth about Clara's intentions. It began subtly. Alexander staged a fall during a late-night dinner, a minor accident that left him unable to walk. He called Clara, whispering in a trembling voice about the accident, and within minutes she was by his side. Her eyes widened in shock, and her hand held his as if she could anchor him to safety. That night, as she stroked his hair and whispered comforting words, Alexander felt a pang of guilt, but pushed it aside. This was about the truth. What he did not anticipate was how isolating his own deception would become. Surrounded by his wealth and servants, he realized that no amount of money could fill the emptiness of a lie. Clara visited every day, bringing warmth and laughter into his artificial misery, but Alexander felt like a fraud. He could see the genuine worry in her eyes, the unselfish concern, and each moment tore at him. It was during these visits that he truly met Eva, the maid who had been quietly working in his mansion for years. Eva was not glamorous. She had calloused hands from years of labor, a quiet demeanor, and a resilience that Alexander initially overlooked. But she noticed everything. The way he winced when he moved too quickly, the exhaustion behind his eyes, the subtle tension in his shoulders. Eva began helping him with small tasks, adjusting pillows, fetching meals, making sure the sheets were comfortable. At first, Alexander barely registered her presence, but slowly, her genuine care began to chip away at his carefully constructed armor. Unlike Clara, who visited out of love and affection, Eva did not know he was wealthy. She did not know the man she served was a millionaire. She only knew the man in the wheelchair who needed help. Days turned into weeks. Alexander's deception weighed heavily on him. Clara remained loyal and compassionate, visiting daily, helping him laugh and smile, never questioning his vulnerability. Yet with every passing moment, his heart began to stir in unexpected ways. It was Eva who became his unexpected anchor. She never pretended, never faked concern, never sought anything in return. She existed in the spaces he could not fill, quietly, steadfastly, faithfully. One rainy evening, as the thunder rumbled across the city and lightning fractured the sky, Alexander found himself stranded in his bedroom, unable to reach the doorbell. Eva arrived as usual, her arms filled with fresh laundry and a towel. Seeing him struggle, she knelt beside the wheelchair, her eyes meeting his in silent understanding. Alexander realized then that he had never felt truly seen. Clara had loved the idea of him, but Eva loved him without pretense, without expectation. Guilt gnawed at Alexander relentlessly. His plan to test Clara had become a test of himself, a test of his heart. How long could he continue living this lie? How long could he watch two women love him, each in their own way, while he deceived them? And most painfully, how could he ignore the pure, untainted affection Eva showed every day? The tipping point came when Clara came to see him after a long week, carrying his favorite flowers. She smiled, her presence radiating warmth, and for a moment, Alexander forgot the charade. He wanted to tell her the truth, to see if she would still stay, but the words stuck in his throat. He watched her cradle his hand, whisper promises he felt unworthy of, and realized that his test was crueler than he had imagined. It was Eva who forced the confrontation, though she never intended to. One night, Alexander asked her to bring his dinner to his study. She carried it, balancing the tray with careful precision, and noticed the haunted expression in his eyes. "Why do you look so sad, sir?" she asked softly, breaking through the walls he had built. He hesitated, then spoke, the truth spilling out like a flood after years of damned emotion. He confessed the lie, the scheme to test Clara, and his growing realization that his heart had shifted. Eva listened silently, her gaze steady, her hands never trembling. And when he finished, she did not recoil, she did not scold. She simply said, "You don't have to be perfect to be loved. You just have to be honest." Those words struck deeper than anything Clara had ever said. Alexander realized that he had been chasing the wrong idea of love all along. He had sought validation in wealth and status, in tests and experiments, while the truest affection had been there all along, quiet, patient, and unwavering. When he finally told Clara, she was heartbroken but graceful. She thanked him for his honesty and left with dignity, leaving Alexander to confront the wreckage of his own choices. He felt loss, yes, but also clarity. And Eva remained, standing quietly by his side, her eyes gentle but unwavering. From that moment, Alexander's life began to shift. He gave up the charade, faced the consequences of his actions, and embraced a love he had never expected. Eva did not see him as a millionaire, as a man of power, or even as a man with flaws. She saw him as Alexander, simply Alexander. And in her presence, he found peace, laughter, and the courage to be vulnerable. He learned that love was not about tests or games, but about trust, honesty, and the willingness to care without expectation. He learned that wealth could not buy sincerity, that power could not command affection, and that the heart chooses in ways the mind cannot predict. And most importantly, he learned that sometimes the person you least expect to love can teach you the deepest lessons about life and humanity. Months later, Alexander watched Eva plant flowers in the mansion garden, dirt under her nails, sunlight catching the edges of her hair. He realized that no grand gesture, no expensive gift, could ever replicate the simple, quiet devotion she had shown him. He rolled up to her, feeling vulnerable yet unafraid, and simply said, "Thank you for staying." Eva smiled, a small, radiant smile that lit up the entire garden. "I never left, sir. I never had a reason to." In that moment, Alexander understood the profound truth he had been searching for all his life. Love is not a test, it is not a challenge, and it is certainly not a reward for a game well played. Love is presence, love is honesty, love is the courage to see someone truly, flaws and all, and to stay. As Alexander held her hand that evening, watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant shades of orange and pink, he realized that he had finally found what he had been searching for his entire life. Not wealth, not status, not even the perfect partner, but love that was real, unconditional, and transformative. If this story touched your heart, moved you, or made you believe in the power of genuine love, please give this video a like, share it with someone you care about, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that celebrate the human heart. And before you go, take a moment to comment below the one line that moved you the most. It means the world to us. Alexander's journey was not just about discovering love, it was about discovering himself. And in finding Eva, he discovered that sometimes the heart knows the truth long before the mind does.